Freedom 96.9, and Lee Mathews with The Drive. Moto is in Oklahoma City. Hi there. Thanks for hanging on.
Lee, you might get in trouble putting me on the air, buddy. I'm notorious here, but I wanted to talk about the state question 837.
And this is the petition drive to legalize recreational marijuana.
Yes, and it will legalize it in a constitutional manner. So one thing that has happened since the passage of 788 is since that was statutory, the legislature uses the cannabis issue like political football, and every chance they get, they try to pull out or deconstruct or change the meaning in the program that was passed by the people by 57%. But, Lee, I'll tell you, the comment that drew me in today, buddy, was it seemed like you might be under the impression that we are scrambling or disorganized. Is that correct?
Yes, that's what the news report that I quoted said.
Well, I'll tell you, your listeners can go to ORCA4OK.com. That's ORCA, the number 4OK.com. What they will find is they will find an interactive map of more than 500 locations, 500 field offices that are holding this petition. They can select the one closest to them, and their Google Maps will take them right to a place to sign this petition to get the government out of the weed business. And even the proponents for medical marijuana, they're concerned that this might disrupt our medical program here in the state. But our answer to them is that the medical program is being disrupted and deconstructed. So this effort will constitutionalize the rights of Oklahomans to medicate. And I want to also give a shout out to our sponsors, High Society, JKJ, Farside, Noble Nectars, Noah Cannabis, Bees Knees, Canna Consulting, Cowboy Cup, and so many more. So It's interesting because this is a factoid we love within the 837 camp. Do you know how many field offices the Hillary Clinton campaign had nationwide for a presidential campaign?
Okay, I don't know, Moto, and I don't care, but I do have questions.
There's about 400.
Moto, This is my show. I ask you the questions. All right?
All right, well, ask me some questions.
Here's the questions. Why didn't we legalize it recreationally in the first place?
Are you talking about the attempted passage of 820?
I'm talking about marijuana. Why didn't we legalize it? Why did we start with medical? Why didn't we just go full recreational in the first place?
Well, I'll tell you what, if you can tell me why that's relevant to the question now.
It's relevant. It's relevant because we wouldn't have to do it again if we had done it that way in the first place.
Well, but we didn't run a recreational bill.
I know. We should have. That's what I'm saying. We should have. Why didn't we?
I agree. I think the medical program is putting too much government in the weed business in the first place.
Well, and I think the medical program is trying to cloak it in something that doesn't exist, okay? People aren't taking it because of medical reasons. They're taking it because of recreational reasons. Now, my next question is since we do have medical, since we have, I'm not going to argue. I don't have any problem with anybody who wants to get baked. None whatsoever. I don't have a problem with marijuana. I'll tell you what I have a problem with. I have a problem with we didn't pick up the phone and call Colorado. We didn't pick up the phone and call California. We didn't pick up the phone and call Nevada and New Mexico and say, hey, what are the...
You didn't?
Whoever
Director for ORCA, Jed Green, absolutely has, and those other states are following.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it because you see all the problems we've had with the Chinese mafia and coming in and taking over small towns and taking over their infrastructure and their water and all of their electrical needs and all of that.
Who do you think that hurts the most, Lee?
I think it hurts
legal cannabis businesses who are generating tax revenue in the state of Oklahoma.
Well, I'll tell you what's happening to that tax revenue. It's being eaten up with regulation because they didn't think about how much they were going to have to regulate.
And also, I'll tell you, the biggest problem, one of my favorite Ronald Reagan quotes is, government is always the problem.
Yes.
Now, the reason why we had any dark money or black Chinese markets in the state in the first place was because they put a high cost of entry into the market with a $2,500 license fee and then all the costs to meet regulation. That meant that mom and pop that already had a farm with great ground that they could grow that crop on could not go out and back and plant it, but organized criminals that could afford to pay law firms to hold straw licenses, which, funny enough, about half of those came from a law firm from a state appointee.
I don't believe you. Okay. Moto, if you want to continue, I'm going to need you to hang on. Can you?
Okay, no problem. That would be great.
Got you need to hang on. See, I'm being fair about this.
That's fine. Disorganized we are not, though. I'll tell you that.
All right. Hang on. We'll talk more coming up on Freedom 96.9 about State Question 837.
It's time to talk about what happened while you were at work today. This is The Drive with Lee Mathews.
Had a little update with the medical kidnapping case we've been talking about since Monday, actually. And then yesterday we had some enlightenments from Senator Shane Jett on that. If you missed that conversation, I'm delighted to have it posted as a podcast at freedom969.com. Just click on my picture. It'll bring you to the podcast page. And that was most of that was in the third hour of the program. All 3 hours are posted in one file. You can just skip past and go through to the third hour and hear Shane Jett's conversation, where he sheds a lot of light on the circumstances of that whole case. On Freedom 96.9, it's Lee Mathews on The Drive. Also, I had the story about how a group of Oklahomans working to collect over 170,000 signatures to legalize recreational marijuana have until November 3rd to get that amount of signatures. I jokingly said maybe they haven't had it yet because too much... Moto is with that organization and taking issue with it. So Moto, and this is why I love this. This is why I love this forum. You're welcome to call anytime and refute what I say. So we were talking about legalization, and you say your organization is motivated, organized, and virile, vigorous, and potent.
Yes, and I want to remind the listeners that they can go to www.orca4ok.com, ORCA, the number 4ok.com. They can find one of more than 500 locations in more than 60 counties to go and sign that petition. Also worth noting, Jed Green, the director for ORCA, is also the person who led the Yes on 7 to 88 campaign. So these are... Okay. This is by Oklahomans for Oklahomans, and they're experienced with this process.
Now, you're telling me that this will fix some of the problems of the medical marijuana legislation.
Correct. Some of it is the fact that it was written by the people and not by the government, so there was some language to clean up. But most of what we have seen is willful sabotage from the regulating and enforcement agencies to make sure that the program failed. Now, OBN and OMA, realizing that one of them is going to become insignificant in this issue, have started kind of spatting over it. But our state question will end a lot of the duplicity that takes place now within our programs. And you mentioned places like California and Colorado. Our state question solves the problem of dual storefronts so that you have duplicate costs, duplicate license, everything. It will all be under one license and one regulatory agency. Hey, also on the medical kidnapping story, we are following that as well, and we want to thank the Freedom 96.9 alumni, Jake Merrick, for going out and putting a spotlight on that story as well.
Sure.
So, and Lee, we are as open to having conversations about cannabis and about Oklahoma and about the regulatory environment as anyone. But I don't want anyone in Oklahoma to think that the people behind State Question 837 are taking this lightly or lighting up as we take it. Amen.
Okay, I understand. Moto, my final question here in this conversation, and maybe you don't know the answer to it in all fairness, Trump is talking about taking weed off of the Schedule I list. What happens if he does?
Well, with our state question, just like we've seen state preemption with red flag laws and other things in Oklahoma, we have established our state sovereignty here. So in the state question, we alliterate what happens in that event. But the short answer is we're in Oklahoma, so nothing.
Okay.
And again, please, everyone go to ORCA4OK.com, and all of these answers are in long form there.
Well, perhaps a lot of the cash business that has to be done now will be eliminated because it won't be a Schedule I substance anymore. You'll be able to sell it with credit cards.
You know what's actually fantastic about that, too? The government shooting itself in the foot and forcing all these people onto a cash economy within the cannabis space really made it
where they couldn't
harder
trace
to
it.
track and regulate for them.
Yeah, exactly. Moto, thanks for your patience. Thanks for being fair, and thanks for letting me be fair as well.
Lee, you're doing a great job, buddy. Appreciate you.
Thank you. On Freedom 96.9, 405-608-4377 to